Hello. After this video, I'm going to show one of the interviews with Russel Martin. Then at the end of it, I'll give my opinion on how I feel, how he talked, and what his views are, and maybe go into a bit more detail about what he said. Maybe try and read between the lines. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. And please, as usual, feel free to say whether I'm talking rhino dung or you agree and all that. Okay. Right. Cheers.
Energy. It needs a fresh start. It's been a tough time for the club and Rangers fans over the last however many years. So I think this will bring some fresh energy. It will bring some stability, and it will bring hopefully a really exciting team on the pitch. Ultimately, that's the end product, and that's what we all want. And a team that wins and wins in a certain way, and with a culture and an environment that we all feel really aligned with and proud of.
What does success look like for you this season then?
Well, we have to win, and we have to win a lot, and we have to build something that the Rangers fans feel proud of, and we all feel proud of together. And the expectation here is big, regardless of who you're playing, where you're playing, and I want people to watch their team with pride and belief and connection to it. And I think there's core values here that the supporters want to see in terms of passion, desire, intensity, courage. And I'm really looking forward to coaching the team full of that.
How do you try and topple then, for example, Celtic as the champion club at the minute, and how big a task is that going to be, given that they've won the last 4 titles?
Well, I've not been working up here. I've watched lots of games, but I just want us to keep improving and be the best version of ourselves we can be. And if we bring that, I think history shows you that when Rangers is performing and has momentum and energy with a team with clarity and belief, it can lead to anything and to big success. And that's what I want. That's why I'm here. I want to be here to win things and to feel that here, and I hope we can do that.
Somebody you know from your previous time here is James Tavernier, the Rangers captain. How key do you look at him as he knows you, you know him in terms of playing together, but as your leader on the pitch going forward, do you see him still very much as a big part of this squad?
I think you have to respect what Tav has done here. It's incredible. So I think it was his first season of having the armband when I came down. Really good person, cares so much about the club, been a brilliant performer for the club over a long period of time, which is not easy to do at a club like this with this size and stature, and so I have so much respect for that, and I look forward to catching up with him properly. We've had a very brief conversation. I look forward to picking his brains, and he'll be hugely important for us moving forward.
It's not long until the Champions League qualifier, so you're going to need a lot more new recruits, or is this a squad that can still be competitive in those Champions League qualifiers?
Well, I think there's a few positions where we'll need to strengthen fairly quickly, I think, and fairly early on. But actually, also willing to be surprised and being open to being surprised by some of the players we have here. I think the way we're going to try and work and play is going to give them the best chance to show us what they've got and to give us the best version of themselves, and hopefully 1 or 2 surprises. But yeah, we'll need some help before that game for sure. But until we get in here and assess everyone, how many we'll need before that game, or how realistic that is, because football and the business of the transfer window can be difficult. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure by then we'll have 1 or 2 people to help us and add to the group.
Okay, here's my done notes. Look, first time I've done that. That Russel Martin video that we've just watched. Now, to start with, he just says he knows how rough it's been for us and all that. He's well aware. He was here during that period as well for a brief period of time as a player. So he knows, he's well aware, his eyes are wide open, you know, and it's standard chat that we would expect, but he said it now. And the next kind of part, I kind of read it, he's kind of preparing us for, it's a rebuild, so he's preparing us not to expect too much, you know, which might not be words that people want to hear, but he's protecting himself. But I think away from the camera, away behind the scenes, he will say that I can win everything here. He will firmly believe he can win every match he goes into, every cup competition he goes into, and he believes he can win the league, because you've got to have that mindset. You've got to remember, these guys operate at a level way above what we do, you know. Now, Tav, you know, I was going to do an own video about Tav, because he's you know, and I know there'll be a lot of replies to this about Tav, how he's terrible and all that. He's not. He's had some bad games for us, make no mistake about that. But he's also given us a lot of goals. His stats there for goals are massive. I think he's not something like the biggest. He's got the most goals for a defender ever in the various leagues that we play in. You know, it's the Europa League or our own league. Anyway, you know, Tav will be here this season. There's no doubt about that, and I firmly believe he should be as well. That doesn't mean I believe he should be a starter or the captain. I actually believe he still will be the captain all year because he's only got a year left. So why change that at this stage? Because Russell and his team, they will have earmarked, maybe not so much Russell, but what's her name, Dan Purdy and Thelwell, Kevin Thelwell will have already. They'll know that they need a leader, or they'll need more than one leader in the team. Somebody that has potential to be the captain of Rangers. That already be done, and that person may well arrive during the transfer window, which starts on June the 16th, which is my birthday. That's how it's easy to rattle off. So that I think that person, those persons, potential captains for Rangers already be earmarked. I would think, you know, right now. That's what a game. And also, you know, people say, why don't they give us more information who they're looking at? They can't. They can because it's tapping up, basically. You know, bloody flies. But it's tapping up, you know, and they don't. And the person's still be under contract at a club, so they can't. It's decorum. There's a word, and it's protecting themselves. They don't want to say too much because if it doesn't happen, they look like so and so's. Then he went on to the Champions League and recruitment for that, and he said something along the lines, there were a few positions need strengthened. People have already jumped in that, saying, "Oh, it's just a few. It won't be. It'll be way more than that. He'll know where we need strengthened. And there'll be more than I would. Well, what is a few? Is it 2, 3? For the first couple of games, there might only be a few in." A few players, new players in, so don't expect too much right away, like a lot of people are already doing. And where is it? And also, and this is important, this is something I've not covered yet. We need to remember clubs now know we've got money. So, say a player was 3 million normally, he'll now be up to 3.5 million. And from what we understand, this mob, the 49ers organisation, they're not going to bend over to people that are trying to shaft us. They've got a clear strategy and how they'll recruit players and and they want players that we can sell on, you know. Also at the end of it, he said he mentions the current squad. Basically, the way I read it, he's obviously watched a lot of Rangers games, and I think Rangers will, because I think. Well, I know that Rangers have their media section at the club, and they'll have sent Russel Martin a load of videos of players, you know, the individual stuff, all the stats, videos of highlights of these players at games, highlights of games, full games. He'll have access to absolutely everything at a drop of a hat, and he'll have been spending a lot of time watching these players. What I took from it at the end there was he believes he can make some of the players better. And, you know, people have said, oh, the players are terrible, this and that. These players have proved they can play well because they've dominated Celtic over the latter year, more or less. We got cup final against them, we lost in penalties. So when people say Celtic had already won the league, but we almost beat them in that final. I know almost, I cringe saying that, but it went to penalties, you know. It's a good interview. I mean, it's kind of standard replies, but I enjoyed that, and it's given me hope. As like I keep saying, I'm all in with this gentleman now. You know, we've got to be, because we've had such a nightmare few years, or more than a few years. But the future's bright, as they say. I think, you know. And like I say, if people say, I know a lot of the replies will be, he's terrible, he's not going to win his Zenit. Like, you don't know that. You know, you maybe will be right. Of course, you may be right, but you've got to go in it positive, and yeah, we've got an interesting few months ahead, an interesting season ahead. All right, so feel free to tear me apart for what I've just said, but there you go. Cheers.